Our entire theory of change is that we're just trying to create more efficient markets, because the only way to make a sustainable progress in poverty reduction is to use market forces to do it.
Scott is very much thinking not about a development project, but about development in terms of how to give people the tools to develop themselves.
It's very clear. The evidence has demonstrated that the payback in terms of employment, in terms of benefits to the local economy and so on, are much stronger as a result of that work.
I was born in Flin Flon, Manitoba, hard rock mining country. My grandfather was a prospector and my dad was a hockey player who left hockey, played for the Edmonton Oilers and left to go into business, and he was a very successful entrepreneur in a variety of different pursuits. And taught me very early on the importance of showing up and not necessarily winning, but giving it a shot. I didn't realize how enjoyable and valuable my undergraduate degree was going to be. I thought this was a box I had to check before I then went off and got on with the business of business and starting up my own company and going forward in life that way. But in the process of checking that box, I fell in love with the most arcane subjects, whether it was Mesopotamian history or 17th century English literature, or even the strange science of economics. And it was when all of these worlds were opened up to me by some remarkably good professors that my world opened up and my plans changed dramatically, and it led to me being here now. Let's sit down and talk about the Soros program in Burma and the pipeline. Does that make sense? It's very simple. 86% of the jobs in the developing world are created by small enterprises, but only about 1% of aid spending is actually channeled through small enterprises. And so what we do is we work with small businesses in places like Haiti and Afghanistan and Timor and Liberia to help them connect to international markets, whether it's aid spending or foreign direct investment or oil exploration, to make sure that the money that's available actually touches them. And when it does, it's amazingly productive in terms of job creation and poverty reduction.
What happens is Western governments tend to want to throw money at the problem. They want to spend and help. The problem is they're not good at spending that money locally. So the vast majority of that money gets spent, US money gets funneled back to US contractors. European money winds up getting spent in Europe for European companies to go do the work on the ground. And what Scott and his colleagues realized is there is a much more long-lasting benefit if that money can be spent locally.
Both in his personal and his professional life, he is an iconoclast, and he's just not afraid to say things that are true, that may offend, but are that speak truth. And I think that's a really important characteristic.
You know, Scott's one of those guys that Malcolm Gladwell describes in the book The Tipping Point. You know, a connector, a maven, someone that puts people together, and then when they come together, something happens. His approach is to be innovative through genuine discussion, productive conflict, I would call it.
I tease him sometimes if he had decided to use his powers for capitalism rather than for good in the world, he'd probably be running some multi-million dollar or billion-dollar business, and everyone would see what he's doing and know his name. And instead, he's achieved a similar level of success in the nonprofit world. He is changing the world, doing something that no one has ever imagined doing prior to him doing it, and no one knows about it, and he never really tells anyone about it. He's humble, and he just really wants to make a difference, and I respect that a lot.